you all's opinion on the race and some of the things we're going to talk about. So you know what we usually do here. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to explain how you can be involved in the content creation, because that is what this entire platform that I've built, or this show that I've put together, is for. It's about allowing you to participate in the content creation, hearing what you have to say, hearing your opinions instead of you just being in the comment section. No matter what driver or team you support, you're welcome to come on and give it a go. So the way it has to happen, all right, it has to be this way until the platform decides that they're going to open it up for other devices to have all the benefits. So one thing you're going to need, two things you're going to need. You're going to need a laptop or a desktop. First person in the live chat is DG Big Blue. What's up? What's going on, Navy? So you'll need a laptop or a desktop to access the audience. The link is in the description and it's also in the live chat pinned. Once you do that, you'll need to use Internet Explorer, Edge, or you're going to use Google Chrome. Do not try Firefox. Don't try any of those, okay? Then once you got that link, you click it, brings you in the audience, you get to do your live call, and bam, we're off. Now, just because you have a cell phone or a tablet doesn't mean you can't come into the audience and see and be involved in everything going on there, but it won't allow you to do the live call in, okay? Another thing, let me see who's first in the audience. Who we got first in the audience? Who's first in the audience? Bobcat is first person in the audience. What's going on, Bobcat? So we got first in the live chat, DG Big Blue. We got first in the live studio audience, Bobcat. And so if you saw this past weekend, I went crazy. I mean, I beat the hell out of something because I feel like Mercedes is beating themselves right now. And we're going to get to that. But let's have a couple of soft topics while everybody kind of comes in. Everybody gets acclimated. People are late. People are getting off work trying to get home so they can do a live call in. So how about I know I had said in regard, matter of fact, you see the picture right here. Logan Sargeant decides to quit in the GP. It just so happens. And if you listen to the live, I say anything aside from his health or something to that degree, I'm going to give Logan a very tall cup of crap to sit in. I'm just going to do it. You know what I'm saying? I got to go ahead and give him that because he's already sitting in an awkward position. But Logan, a bit dehydrated. He was cleared at the track. He was cleared at the track. It wasn't even like it was next day. He was cleared at the track. I think there were several other drivers that did have issues with dehydration or hydration. And I think right now it's just about these teams understanding the elements and the environment that they're going into Qatar. And you need to run a proper hydration protocol going in. It also is something to be said. They need to look at the hydration units in the car. I think that they need to consider the hydration units, what they're using to hydrate, what they will give these drivers in these races, and safety over everything else. So even if in this race, I mean, think about it. If everybody has to carry the same amount of weight, it's all even, it's all equal. If you have to put something in there to give these drivers something to be more cool, I didn't see Logan wearing an ice pack. I didn't see him wearing that. I don't know. Maybe he had one on and I didn't see it before he put his uniform on, but I didn't see Logan wearing an ice pack unit. I know that they might want to consider maybe small refrigerant units in there, or they're going to consider something else that they'll utilize in that car. Maybe something that'll keep that liquid cooled and they can cool it before they put it in there. And then think about what type of liquid they're going to give them, some type of hydration sports drink or something. But they need to run a proper hydration protocol for these drivers. So Logan not going to get a ton of crap from me, but he was cleared at the track. And I heard there were worse situations with other drivers as far as falling out, laying out. So overall, hydration is going to be paramount going into Qatar in the following seasons, unless there's something that's going to change there. Teams need to be aware of that. The FIA need to address these situations and see if there are certain protocols they can put in place to assist these drivers and these teams and keep them safe. Because if a driver goes in and has a heat stroke on track while driving, not only is he now endangered, but he's going to endanger the safety of other drivers and potentially spectators, depending on how elaborate an incident can get. We saw what happened with Joe Silverstone, so things in that right could have got very bad for spectators had the proper safety barriers not been put in place, and Joe himself had the halo not being introduced in the Formula One. So it's game time. It is time for us to get this whole thing off and popping. We're going to talk about these drivers that are looking for the back door, looking to go out of Formula One just as fast as they came in. Aside, well, pretty much Logan, not Perez. Perez has been here for a minute, and Lance has been here for a minute. And we're going to start off with Lance Stroll. Okay, we're going to talk about each one of these drivers that you see right here in the segment card, but we're going to start off with Lance Stroll. I think Lance Stroll this weekend was totally ridiculous. I think it was ridiculous. Lance launching his steering wheel, Lance, cursing. I'm not too mad at that. People curse sometimes, but Lance is out of character when he does it. So he's out of his own character. Basically the way he shoved his trainer off. I'm trying to figure out what was he so surprised at that he reacted that way. I didn't see anything different happening that we haven't been seeing pretty much majority of the season. And that's the fact that Lance Stroll has underperformed, especially in comparison to Alonso. So what was he so surprised at? What all of a sudden has Lance Stroll been mad at? Up until now, Lance has been, there's next week. Hey, there's something else going on after the race that I can participate in and possibly win. So, we live to fight another day. Lance has been pretty hunky-dory when it comes to underperforming. But now, all of a sudden, he's all pissed about his performance. He's pissed about what he's not doing. I'm like, bro, can we stop the cap? Can we stop capping right now? I just want to stop capping. But I will say this. Lance Stroll ends up at least in the points. All right, he ends up at least in the points. We get to see Lance Stroll bring it on up to 9th place, which just in front of Gasly. And that's pretty much, better than what he's been doing. He's been horrible in qualifying. He hasn't been great in the race. Alonso still outperforming him in the same car right there in 6th. Big shout out and congratulations to Pia. I know we're not talking about Pia right now, but McLaren again showing up, and Piastri definitely showing off, winning the sprint race and coming in to collect a podium. So a pretty big, nice trifecta for him, just getting in the pole position for sprint, then winning the sprint race, then getting second in the race itself. So I want to hear from you all. What do you think about that? What do you think about Lance Stroll's his behavior? What do you think about him? Oh, Baraka! Lance frustrations finally got to him. Let's see what Baraka has to say. We're bringing Baraka in right now. Baraka, come on to the stage, my brother. Let's see what you got to say. Oh, my goodness. Baraka, what's happening, bro? Oh, no. Mic check, nothing. Nothing for you. Nothing, not yet. All right. It's okay. You need to come. Okay, I got you. Baraka's going to come back. These things happen. He's going to get right. And while Baraka's getting right, we do have somebody else. We got Uno coming in. So Uno's going to go ahead and come to the stage. So let me get Uno in here. Uno says, why do drivers set bad examples for youngsters? That's a very good question. Uno, Blue Diva in the super chat over on the YouTube says, poor Ocon was puking in his helmet during the race. Yo, that is crazy. That's something else. What's going on, Uno? Give me a mic check,
What's
bro.
What's up, my brother?
Oh, yeah, definitely
you hear me
good, man. I hear you good. So go ahead,
I had to
brother.
check.
There you go.
Now let's run this. Let's run
Here's
this.
your F1 minute. Go ahead.
Right. I don't understand these guys. Now, we got youngsters watching as well, and in the audience, in the stadiums, all cheering these guys on. But can you tell me what was Lance Stroll's behavior like that to go and make himself be picked on? Just like that, be spotted to the kids to show that stupid example to your trainer. When your trainer is just actually saying to you, you got to go out into the weighbridge. That's what the trainer was. So instead of him to go and snap, calm himself down and go and do what he's supposed to go and do as a routine. Not set a stupid example on the screen to where youngsters will think, was that good, Daddy? Was that really good? What's wrong with this driver? Why was his attitude? These guys got to set a prime example to make themselves be treasured as national icons. Not nor egotism, nor get angry. We're the ones who get angry. We're the fans who pay them. And if we don't like something, we'll kick up fuss. But not the drivers. They are prime examples of national icon treasures. And that's what Lance Stroll's got to be. Or else, get out.
All right, I got a question for you, bro. Because that's a good point. So let me give you a question real quick before I let you off, and then you come back on. So, you're not saying that drivers don't have any room to show any emotion? Are you? You're not saying that, but if a driver shows emotion, do you then still feel okay if they come back and rectify it and explain it, put it in context, and then therefore offer? Like Lewis Hamilton's done it several times. Like, hey, my actions definitely weren't respectable. I want to apologize. Is that okay with you, or you're saying that there is zero tolerance for that?
Nah, correction. Use what Lewis done as a prime
Okay,
example,
right,
as a role model of an ambassador. You can let loose, but you don't have to come up with pure excuses. The actual thing you do is to show the people that you're a human being and you respond to the people who wants to know why were you very upset. Well, it's the same way as we parents that get frustrated. A child's gonna come up and go, "Daddy, what? Why are you angry? What makes you angry?" Then, as a parent,
right.
we're gonna explain. But the thing about it is,
Okay.
these guys has got to learn to know how to respond, respect, and apologize is pure. You go out to the cameras, say sorry, show the world that you're still a human being, explain the reasons, but you don't need to come out and do like what he did. Lance Stroll did on that interview. That interview was stupid. His attitude was above and beyond. Right? It was no explanation. He still come out and swear on the air. And you hear it blanked out. It was,
Right.
right? That was rude.
Right.
That was uncalled for. And then when the guy was asking more questions, he just went, "I gotta do better," and then walked off.
Right.
That's no
Right.
example
Okay.
to a driver. The example you give is what you said. A driver's got to apologize, calm himself down, show the public I made a mistake. It's just my frustration. You get it with the same with Charles. Charles calmed
Okay.
down. Even though he's angry, he explained the reasons, but he still kept calm. Did you hear him swear? Did you see him go off and say, "Look, whatever ish," and then come out with an attitude? No. He said, "Oh, the reason is because of the car, blah blah blah," and then that's
Okay.
it. Walked off. So
All
there
right.
you go.
Appreciate that, Uno. Appreciate that, my brother. Appreciate that. Definitely, I agree. I agree with Uno. They do have to set an example. Lewis Hamilton is a prime icon for that. Coming to the stage, we got Baraka coming back up. Let's see if he's got his audio together.
Me?
Give me a
Can you
mic
guys
check. Yeah,
mic check?
now,
Okay.
yeah, now we in there, bro. Now we in there. Okay, man, let's make
Yep.
this happen. I'm gonna give you a F1 minute, brother. All right, here you go.
Um, so I think with Lance, I could somewhat relate to him. I'm not saying that I'm a racing driver. I'm far from it. I'm not the
Right,
best qualified to talk about race drivers' attitude. But in terms of like, let's say, an athlete or a sportsman's attitude once they're visibly frustrated, I could relate to it.
okay,
Because, for example, I play soccer, Sunday league, gets very intense a lot, even though it's nothing too serious. It gets very intense very quickly. And when you know it's like, hey, he's like, I'm better than this, and I'm not up to par. You get visibly frustrated, or when a teammate or the entire team is playing below to the standards that you know that you're at. You get frustrated. You start swearing. I'm a victim of it. Like yesterday, my team lost. I cussed the hell out of my players making a mistake. I'm not saying I'm a saint, but it happened. It
right,
happens. It happens. So like Lance's interview is like, I know people are mad that he did what he did, but I think I'm coming from a place of like, I could relate to it. I could understand it because I haven't been interviewed, but when like a coach is talking to me and I'm
right,
pissed, I'm just giving like 1 or 2 word answers because it's like I'm in no mood given how what happened today. I'm in no mood for any paragraphs. Just I'm an answer and dip. I'm just gonna keep it short and keep it a
right.
buck.
Okay,
And it's like him pushing the trainer is like I'm not condoning it, but
okay,
it's like, hey, it's like again, I'm in the world. It's like ish happens. It's like when you're pissed at a certain point, a person will snap. And I think Lance, the pressure got to him finally. It was in due time, given how the team started off the season with Alonso carrying it. And yeah, you could say the team regressed,
right.
but the position where the team was compared to start, I say Lance is probably thinking about maybe I didn't meet up the par that I thought I would be, and it's now hidden and it's frustrating. So yeah,
Right. So let me throw you this before we get on to the next one. So
yeah,
I'm just in the mind frame that Lance is a little bit too late for this. We've had a good. We're
yeah,
through half of the season now, and up until now, he's been hunky dory about his underperformance. He's been at the interviews like, hey, to be tomorrow, we'll, bye. He's been real casual and nonchalant about it. Now all of
Yeah.
a sudden, here it is. You're trying to show this aggression and this passion that you're underperforming. I mean, bro, you've been underperforming all season and you've been cool with it. So I gotta wonder what has changed. Has a conversation taken place? Has certain things been mentioned in a meeting maybe? Because that's out of character from what we've seen, and he's been further back than that. And we haven't seen that all season.
I think with that, I think it's I think it was something progressive. I think he was trying to hold it in within. But again, like I said, at a certain point, when you can only, even as a human being, as an athlete, you can only hold in so much before you snap.
Gotcha.
I'm guessing what happened this past weekend just finally snapped.
Okay.
It mentally broke him, and you can see like the frustrations. Like his interview, if you remember Eminem's Kyle Busch, whenever Kyle Busch is pissed, if people who watch NASCAR knows, it's like once Kyle Busch or Denny or anyone are pissed, you only get one word answer, and people just like, all right, I'm gone. I don't feel like it.
Right.
But Bubba is like when he's pissed, like the Kyle Larson incident last year, he gave one word answers and just dipped.
Right.
So I'm guessing it built up, and it showed.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. We'll see. We're gonna get ready to move on to the next driver because I know you're gonna have something to say about this. I know you coming back, bro. I know you are. You got to. If you don't, it ain't right.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So we're about to move to our next driver in this card right here. As you see, this guy right here, that guy right there, Perez, again having a very lackluster weekend. Perez coming in 11th outside of the points. Not only that, but Perez collecting penalty after penalty. Not only that, but then Perez also, I believe, was off track at some point in time. I'm almost to the point where I'm thinking Perez is, even if he's not out of Red Bull's door at a certain point in time, mentally I think he's out of the door for this season. I don't fully believe, just like Baraka said, it's something that built up. I cannot fully believe that Perez would hear the things that have been said about him from within his own team, from head key personnel, i.e. Helmet, Mark, Go Not, about a culture of people, about his performance, punches or shots as to his ability to perform in Formula One based off of his family status and his obligations to the family. I just gotta think that has to get to a person. That has to get to a person. And I'm wondering if Perez has not just checked out mentally, knowing that even him saying something like second's the best that I can get. You can't tell me that as a driver he doesn't want more than that, but he's not going to get more than that. He's in risk of maybe not even getting that. He would have been more so in risk had Lewis Hamilton finished that race. I do believe Lewis Hamilton, aside from the situation, which we're going to get to that, Lewis Hamilton and Russell a little bit, so don't bring it up right now. We got a whole segment for that. I do believe Lewis Hamilton's on podium this past weekend outside of that situation happening. And if that is the case, the margin between him and Perez is that much smaller, and the risk of Perez not being the second best driver in the championship is that much larger. So I want to know what you all think. Is Perez checked out mentally? Is Perez in some way rebellion? Is Perez so far emotionally, like Barack said, building up that he can't even perform the way we've seen him as a late? On the YouTube chat, DG Big Blue, big shout out for the super chat, says, I feel that Perez has checked out and wants out of Red Bull Racing. He needs to go somewhere else and rediscover his passion for racing. And that, I would think that Christian Horner would support that. I mean, if you think about all the hoopla and shenanigans he was talking about Danny Rick coming back, that's really what it was about, rediscovering his passion for Formula One, getting rid of those bad habits that he built up at McLaren. And right now McLaren seem to be making some pretty good habits of double podiums and rookies winning sprint races and grabbing pole positions. And so seems that maybe McLaren was struggling. That's not a maybe, they were. They're not now. They are the same team that are progressing now that they were then. It took some time. And now it's starting to look more like, to me, I don't think McLaren were building bad habits for Danny Rick. I think Danny Rick was in a bad space for himself. Now is Perez in that same space in a team we've seen several drivers outside of Seb, outside of Max, come in and go. Has Perez overstayed? I want to know what you think. And remember, this show is about you being involved. And if you don't come on, we're going to go right through this and I'll be on and out. Trust me. Okay, so this is about you, and this is what I feel. So what do you think? What are your thoughts about Perez in Red Bull? I know what his contract is. I know what Red Bull has said as to he's the guy. He's going to be here. But is Perez really there? And is Perez possibly ready to go before his contract is up? I think his contract will be up. There we go. Got my bro. Our resident Red Bull expert is coming to the stage. Baraka says Perez isn't what we thought he was. Oh, man, I got to do the gunshots.
Yep.
Damn. All right, bro, you got your F1 minute. Tell us why Perez is not what we thought he was.
So this is no slate to Perez. I think he's been in Formula One this long. So if you've been in the sport for this long, you obviously have the talent. You know, we've seen it in Racing Point. But I say that at the time, Racing Point was a top end midfield team. Mm-hmm. So I try to compare this to, again, when I try to understand things, I try to compare it to like football or soccer.
Right. When
a player moves from a mid-table club to like the top creme de la creme type of team, expectations are you have expectations, right. And just mediocre to medium performances just wouldn't cut it at such team. So I'm guessing him moving from Racing Point to Red Bull, in my opinion, is a big step. And like, again, the type of performance he had in the Red Bull, if he performed it in, let's say, a modern day Haas, Williams, McLaren, that would be fine.
McLaren in there right now.
Yeah, but not right now. But let's say McLaren a few races back.
How about Alpine?
Alpine, yes. Okay, Alpine's a good example. Those type of performances, like, okay, that's pretty good. But if you did such performances in like a prime Mercedes, a current Red Bull, prime Ferrari, it just they wouldn't cut. It wouldn't cut at all.
Okay.
So I'm guessing when I say he isn't what we thought he was. People are saying is like, oh, he's going to challenge Max, going to be on the top end, challenging these teams like Ferrari and Mercedes. And yeah, 2021 kind of showed it in a way, but then once the regs came in and they kind of, and the car was come to find out the car that Red Bull built was perfectly suited for Max. Yeah, people could bring that excuse, but then it's up to the driver of the car to adapt at that point. It's Formula One is a kill or be killed sport. And if you can't adapt, then you're getting left behind. And I feel like at this point, Checo is now slowly getting left behind in a rocket ship type car.
All right, so I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Before you come back. So what were we seeing toward the beginning of the season? Checo's performance was outstanding. And then at some point in time, development happened and then it dropped off. So what do you say to that transition? Because we saw it and it was there. It was real thing.
It was there.
And then it kind of dwindled off. So what do you think went wrong? Do you think the development of the car and then maybe several other things, or do you honestly believe Checo it was an admiration? It was just fodder for right then. It just happened to be the luck of the draw. He was able to perform that well because it seemed like it was really solid and then it just jumped. So what do you think is attributed to before I bring on Uno? What do you got?
I personally think it's all of it combined. Luck of the draw, development to Max's style, because again, I stand by it. Max's style for that Red Bull car is the fastest style for that car.
Okay, I could agree with
that. So if you're a team owner, I think you would be the dumbest team owner if you don't adapt your car to the fastest driver in a way. Not fully, but in a way you could.
Got you.
But then again, I say the ball is on Checo's court to try to adapt in a way, not like fully copy part to part from Max.
True.
But try to see, okay, Max is doing what is Max's braking style? What angle is he taking going into corners? Like how is his accelerations going out of a corner? Some stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Like again, what I'm blanking right now. He kept on saying how Max and Lewis love a twitchy front end.
Right.
So it's like maybe given how the car is set and built up, at this point, if I were him, go do a lot of sim runs to try to give a feel of practice of it.
There you
You
go.
know, probably is like, hey, talk to Christian Horner's like, hey, can I get that Max set up for my sim run so I can at least not just challenge Max, but also help you guys in the constructors. Yeah, they won it, but
Right.
in the
It was
drivers,
lame.
he's left vulnerable to Lewis, who, let's be real, that Mercedes car is farly inferior. You got Max. You got Max pretty much easily handling both Mercedes cars on a given day, but you got Checo struggling.
Right.
So it maybe Red Bull could offer, it's like, hey, here's Max's setup if you want to practice during non-race weekends. After of course you can spend time with family, but in the factory, practice,
Right.
get an understanding the gist of it,
Okay.
and but Checo, it's both of them got to communicate or work together on how to improve on that. So
Okay.
again, it's a mixture of every point that you just said.
All right.
He started off the season well. He had that confidence, but then once Max got comfortable in that car, gone in the wind. Max just
Right.
left him to dust. He's like, yeah.
Okay. All right, Brock. I know you're gonna be back, man, because we got somebody else coming up next, man. We both Americans.
All right,
so
all
I expect
right.
to hear you on that. Uno says Checo may not gonna have the seat for 2024. Marco gonna let him go, and Horner says Checo needs to get back his form. Finna get ready to bring Uno to the stage so we can hear what he's got to say. All right, Uno, let's go in, bro. Let me get that.
1 2 1 2.
we got Uno.
How's my
There we-
voice, dude?
There, you good, Uno. Let's go ahead, man. I'm gonna give you an F1 minute. Rock it off, bro.
Perfect. As I said, Checo, from 2 years back, we all see the way he was struggling with Racing Point, and had the confidence, won the Sacco champion, the race win, and at the end of times, confident that Lance's dad was going to keep him in that seat before you get Alonso coming to the seat. So I feel that he felt everything was. He was completely out of it, right? He's going to be like a Daniel Ricciardo. He ain't going to be in no driver's seat until when Red Bull, Karen Horner, come along and be a fairy godmother and save him. But apart from that, Checo should never actually feel that he ain't confident enough with his car, because at the moment he's been doing quite well. The only possibility was, I kept saying, is the track limits. They reduced the track limit down to make sure it can be more tighter, more easier, and more perfect for these drivers to handle the corners and taking the line speed perfectly without going over the limit. And you can see the way Checo was pushing the car, that at the end of the times, yeah, he's gone above the track limits. And it's not only him. How many other drivers are continue to get the tick of penalty of 5 points? 5 second penalty. That's it. 5 second penalty. 5 second penalty. And it's not only him, but he got it about 3 times. And when he get it 3 times, it's like a baseball game. That's what put the pressure on him. And you can hear when he got into the interview, he wasn't happy. He wasn't like, yeah, I made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. Checo was saying, it's very hard out there. It is so uncomfortable, ungrippable. You try to, maintain the limits but you could not always keep the grip, because every constant time, you see how many other drivers apart from him slide off the track, going off the tracks. And then you keep hearing it, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds.
Right.
It coming like a song. Album got it double time Album got it double time 5. And that was 10-second penalty. But at the end of the times, we should not ever give Checo that hard time, because even Marco should never actually attack him, because Checo can drive. Checo's got that quality. And more importantly, Checo's going to prove that he can be part of the team. So if they can make a race-winning car the same as what they've done for this construction ship, why not improve Checo's car? You're all the time hearing it with Max. The only time you see Max winning is Max. They even go and class him on his notification board, Super Max. You don't see that on Checo, did you? You didn't see that one time on Checo. We all see it when it's Max. And it's Super Max. What about Checo when he actually done it how many times? 3, 4 times.
Yeah.
And got up to being class in the WDC second position championship. That's Checo fighting for that. He's not doing like what want Lewis to pass him. He's not going to say, you know what, I'll give up. Checo is fighting to show that he too can get into this world championship. So he's not going to quit. But at the end of the times, he doesn't out and displayed like a Chinese dummy of spiritual essence. He's a guy that's going to work. And if you put Checo in that position, then bring him where he's going to show respect, quality, and response. Right?
All right. Nice. Well, no, definitely nice. I agree with everything you said, brother. I appreciate you on that, definitely. And we about to get on Logan Sargeant not right now. Uno and Baraka cooking. I don't know where y'all at. I don't know where you are. I know, I'm done with the invites. I know several people seem like they had things to say in regards to what happened this weekend. We're going to talk about Logan Sargeant briefly. Logan, broken promises. Every time Logan says he's going to dial it back, he doesn't. Logan off track again this weekend in Qatar, and then quitting or bowing out in the actual race. I do understand, dehydrated. He felt ill. He left the track. I definitely would applaud his decision if he felt like he was unable to pilot that car, and he felt himself that he was a risk to other drivers on the track. And bowing out, he was cleared at the track. As we have seen and know, Ocon was puking in his helmet. I think there were worse situations than Logan, but I'm not the one to say what Logan's tolerance of pain or what his ability is to handle adverse situations physically. Everybody is not in the same physical fitness, and maybe Logan needs to work on that. But I do think as a whole, they need to figure out a good hydration protocol before going into these races. But Logan, either way it goes, you're not sitting in a pretty seat, okay? You came into this race saying you were going to dial it back. You already knew it was about bringing the car home safe. You're off track in kitty litter corner. Logan's not putting together a good resume. Now, that's 2 out of the 3 that I told you about. I said if Logan takes this car off track, wrecks, beaches it, does whatever 3 more times before the end of this season, I think he's making a strong campaign for James Vowles and Williams Racing to say, we may need to move on. But I also said 2 things can be true. So I also feel this way as well. If the team do elect to give Logan more runway in 2024 to not only prove himself, but to improve himself, I will fully support that, because Williams, to me, will be then going off the criteria of what a typical rookie entering Formula One is. These rookies just don't come in and go off. And if Logan is going to be in that situation and with a team that will take everything that he's done this season, damaging the cost cap, damaging the car, and still come back in 2024 says, hey, you get a full season of testing. You get to come here. You're going to get a full running. You're going to get full sim time. Now show us what you can do with a full package of support in 2024. I commend, and I will commend Williams for that. But I will say this, doesn't mean anything's going to change. Logan could get this opportunity and still throw it away, because that's just who he is. Just like Baraka came on and said, Perez is who we thought he was. He's not who I thought he was. I still think Perez is better than that. But still saying, Logan might be what he is. If we look right here, Logan Sargeant not finishing the race. Final driver to kind of get up out of there. Sainz didn't even get an opportunity to compete, as Ferrari had more fuel issues. Maybe they were trying to implement that fuel mapping protocol that they were audited for way back then. I'm just saying, no shots thrown, right? But we'll see what happens with that. But what do you think about Logan Sargeant 2024? All I want to know, simple question before we move on about Logan, because we're going to get to this next segment. Simple question. If you are team principal, and I want this question answered if you're going to come on. If you are team principal, do you give Logan next season? Baraka's coming and says Logan needs a coming to Jesus moment. Damn. A coming to Jesus moment. Oh, my gosh. Baraka, come on, bro. Tell us what kind of moment is it? Come on down. Won't you join us down? He's calling you. Won't you come on down? Let's go. What do we got?
So again, out of the rookies, again, first off, congrats to Piastri. This is probably the best weekend of his life. And it's like that sprint race, I was happy. I was celebrating. It's like, yo, this is like, if people don't understand, this is a very big moment, not just for Piastri, but McLaren in general. You know,
Right.
As of late, these wins don't come these wins don't come off, but this is a testament to McLaren's development throughout the season. You know,
Right.
Back-to-back podiums in one weekend is amazing. You know, but for Logan, it's tough. I think it's tough to judge him off this weekend. Like, yes, Saturday he kind of beached himself in the sprint, but given how the context of like how almost every driver was struggling around that part of the track during the sprint in practice, is like, hey, it's a bit dusty, it's a bit gusty or windy, you know.
True.
So it's like, you know what, I'm not gonna judge Logan on that too much. And also Saturday, how he felt massively dehydrated. And like, if people who ran like marathons or play sports who happen to like have the ill fortune of being dehydrated, it is a miserable feeling. It's a crappy feeling, and I don't wish that on anyone, not even my worst enemy. Because you feel like your soul has been sucked out of you, and you're just a dead man walking. It's not fun.
Yeah.
So with Logan, I think after the end of the season, I think judging how James Vowles has been talking, I think they may keep him for another season, given it's like they say James is like saying, it's like, yeah, even though Logan has been like crashing out, like each race, there's been increments of improvement in a way. Like Suzuka is like, he was kind of up there with Alex. It's like, even without the upgrades compared to Alex, like time-wise, he was kind of up there.
Right.
But again, like I said last week, if James Vowles gives him next season, if he doesn't improve by the summer break, then you might as well just chuck him out and probably look for someone else.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think before I let you go, I think the maybe less paddle ball would have been something that probably could have saved a lot of these drivers. If you look at the drivers that passed out, I'm pretty sure most of them participated in their whole big paddle ball competition, that they went out and exerted a lot of energy, if not a lot of energy, definitely a lot of hydration, a lot of water. I think by 3 a.m., by the time I get to 6:45, I've already had 100 ounces of water, 99 something ounces of water. There's no excuse for a team to that magnitude not running a proper hydration protocol for their driver, and are saying like, yo, we're going into some very hot conditions. You cannot go out and play paddle ball. Sorry. You can't.
I'm guessing, of course, they want their drivers to do their own thing. You know, they don't want to overmanage them. You know, we're all grown adults here. You know,
right?
You know, they don't want to overmanage. And I'm guessing, maybe because I probably lay back on a paddle ball. But I feel like something like this, because I don't know if it was announced that was judged during practice or sprint. I didn't hear much about, you know, drivers feeling dehydrated or very, you know, feeling very drained after practice or sprint. But during the race, within the middle of the race, like, for example, you got Checo saying, is like, blood, I can't see a thing. I don't know if it's just the dust or my eyes are, or I'm dehydrated. I can barely see a thing. You got, you know, Ocon literally admitting, it's like, yeah, I puked inside my helmet.
Right.
You know, you got, again, Logan on the radio is like, I don't think I can finish up this race because I just feel like utter dog crap.
Right.
And you got you have Max and Lando in the room, and they look dead. And they finished 1 and 2, and they look dead inside. It's like,
right.
So I'm guessing it's something that no one foresaw.
Yep, that's a good point.
I don't know. And speaking about this weekend, I don't know this weekend has just been a myriad of issues, from weather, track layouts, track limits, sausage curt. This weekend was
crazy
for all parties involved.
Facts, it was crazy.
So it was crazy.
I'm for the smoke. I'm for Qatar for next season. I'm good with Qatar on the schedule, bro.
Yeah.
I'm about to bring Uno in. Appreciate it, Baraka.
No problem.
All right, Uno coming in says Logan still do his best. Yet on how he felt, He still gave his best. Woo! But maybe his best is not enough. DG Big Blue in the YouTube super chat, big shout out and big appreciation. It says it's too soon to move on from Logan. He needs time. I agree with that. I agree with that both ways. Go ahead, Uno. Let me go ahead, man. You got your mic is good. Go ahead, brother. I got your F1 minute.
Cheers. Man. From what I saw of Logan and what Baraka said, respect is true. You're in the desert, and this is the desert. Not like some movie. This is basically a hot, tropical kind of surrounding place. And with the Arabians, yeah, it's coming like it actually is Arabian Night. But for what Logan had, I heard from Ted Kravitz said he did suffer a bit like some kind of like poisoning or some kind of thing that made him feel a bit queasy, and he still go and gave it all. We never knew about that. We never heard that
Right.
Logan was feeling that bad. Only to when now he got into driving, you heard it on the radio, you heard the announcement. He wasn't himself. He wasn't 100%. But they said
Right.
it's up to him if he wants to carry on, and if he wants to go a bit more further. In the end, pull out. But at the end of the times, that goes to show that's a human being. You don't have to be
That's
a rookie.
true.
You don't have to show you're superhuman. You don't have to show that you're a man of steel, because you ain't. You are a human being with qualities and the capabilities of doing what you can. And how we saw Logan done it, I have to say, well done to him to say I can't go any further.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Big shout out, Uno. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. We're being reasonable. Uno has a very good point, and that is true. But now it's time. It is game time. You already know what time it is. We about to get this on and popping. Some of y'all better have something to do. And we are about to talk about, you already know, it's time for us to get into it. Lewis and Russell collide again. Okay. I've already given my point on this. I've given my perspective on this, and I'm going to tell you right now. Russell shares some blame in this. It is not utterly and completely Lewis's fault. Lewis definitely made a mistake. He definitely overjudged. But, Russell, come on, bro. You saw Lewis. Come on, Russell. You knew what the plan was. Y'all talked about this in the meeting, Russell. You saw Lewis and you edged over on him several times, bro. You edged over several times on Lewis. So I'm not buying it about him not knowing that Lewis Hamilton was there. I'm not buying that. He edged over several times on Lewis, and we got to stop believing these things Russell is talking about. This man saying he didn't see Lewis, when he goes back and looks at it, yeah, it's not all of Lewis's fault. It's just not. I can't even agree to that even somewhat. I saw Russell edge over not once, not twice, but 3 times in this situation. 3 times in this situation, Russell edges over right there. Just look at him. If you see, Russell right now is completely tucked behind Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton is running up with pace. Lewis Hamilton is about to overtake that. Is about to be a wrap. Look at Russ, boom, 1 time. So you mean to tell me you move over left and you ain't looking? Your teammate's right there. Boom, again, he put right there. He's almost getting ready to collide with Lewis Hamilton. He literally would have hit Lewis had Lewis not giving him space. So Lewis is already giving him space right there. So that's 2 times he's moved over. You can't tell me that Russell didn't see Lewis by this point. And then here we go again. 3 times he moves over. 3 times he moves over. Okay, 3 times. Here we go. No, so this is where the mistake happens. You got, again, 3 going into 1. We heard it doesn't work, but we've seen it work in Silverstone. I believe we had 3 cars side by side going at it. I think it was Perez, Lewis, and maybe Russell Orlando. I can't recall the other driver, but we've seen it. But here it is. The mistake Lewis makes is, to me, in my opinion, is trusting that Russell's going to abide by what they've already talked about. Lewis is going to have the stronger pace. He's on the better tire off the start. We already know Lewis Hamilton is a monster off the start. And he's trusting that Russell's going to listen. I've already given him space. He's already moved over on me 3 times. I've got the pace. Russell's probably going to go ahead and yield so I can get by Max, and then we'll have Max in between 2 Mercedes, and we'll do our best from there. That's not what happened. Russell, to me, gets greedy and gets blinded, and he stays there instead of backing out. Hamilton makes the mistake of trusting it, coming down and turning. He has several room over to his left-hand side. I do feel like Lewis should have not trusted that fact with Russell. He should have gave him more space, moved out to the left. You already moved over 3 times because Russell moved you out, and that's on Russell. At this point in time, you got the pace. I do believe Lewis Hamilton could have went the long way around. He's already getting ready to pass Max at this point in time. He's going to beat Max out of this corner. Lewis Hamilton is going to beat Max out of this corner, bar that this doesn't happen. And it's a wrap. So yeah, I completely believe there is fault to be shared on both sides. I do. But we only see that one person is a big enough person as he always is to come and say, hey, my bad about that. I own my responsibility. I own my part. It's my fault. Hey, big shout out. And it kills me when people say, oh, Lewis already admitted the fault. Two things can be true. He could take responsibility for what happened and own his portion of it, but stop acting like there's not other blame to go around there, because it is. Don't try to use Lewis apologizing and owning his responsibility to try to think that that's going to be something I'm going to let you use to try to, oh yeah, it's all on Lewis, because he admitted it. He admitted his portion of it. I agree about his portion of it. But Russell not seeing Lewis, come on, man, we got to stop this. We got to stop this. I got to know what y'all think about this. What do y'all think? Plenty of blame to share, or is it? What do y'all got for me? Who's coming up next? Who's stepping up to the stage? And I'm not inviting no more rats and roaches up here. Y'all already know the open invite stands. Y'all never do. We got Baraka. Both admitted fault, but the real blame is, on Mercedes, and I agree on that. Baraka coming to the stage again. Let's see what Baraka's got to say.
So what I got to say with this, in my opinion, I think George reacting, like first off, both Merc got the jump on Max at the start.
Mm-hmm.
The ill fortune is that George caught that slipstream from Max. So he got some extra miles per hour faster, and as he got closer to Max, like every racing driver would do, they would try to move over to find some space and not crash behind the driver. So let's just use George. I hate to say it. I hate to try to defend George. You know me. It's like the chances I slander George, I will take it.
Gotcha.
But let's just use his excuse of, hey, I didn't see Lewis in his mirror. Okay. We'll use that. We'll use that excuse.
Okay.
I remember looking at, I think they showed an onboard, and I felt like, in my opinion, Lewis kind of misjudged the space he gave George going into turn 1. And I'm not saying it's like, just because Lewis misjudged, he's a terrible driver. Drivers make mistakes. They would, no driver is prone to making mistakes every now and then. And I feel like this is one of the rare occasions, given where Lewis is at,
okay,
that I will openly admit, it's like, hey, he kind of misjudged it. Okay. And even he said it himself. It's like, hey, I just looked at it. I could see the blame that I put on. It's like, I misjudged the corner. George got sandwiched in between.
Okay.
Like after he got out Max's slipstream, you got Max going parking on the apex like every racing driver do once they feel like they're gonna get overtaken. Smart way to do is try to park it on the apex, prevent yourself from be vulnerable for the switchback. And you got Lewis on the outside, so you got 2 cars right on either side going into a corner. And you're just there. You're just there minding your business, trying to, run your race, and then boom, this incident happened.
Right. Okay. So I got a question for you, Baraka.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring this in. I got a question for you. I'm gonna bring this in, and I'm gonna ask you this. All right. So here we go. Where's Russell?
At that point, he looks like he's behind Max.
Right.
Yeah. He's right behind Max. Within his slipstream.
So let me ask you why he does this. Bow. Why does Russell stop right there? Why does Russell give that little jut of the steering wheel like he realizes that somebody's there? Watch how he comes out behind Max and bow. Did you see that little move?
Yeah. Okay. That part, so I think
actually saw. I use that because I think he saw that Lewis was there at that point in time. That's why he didn't keep going over.
I think at that point, that's when he realized, like, oh crap, Lewis is there. But luckily, Lewis
gave him
the room. Like He
Yeah,
gave him
like
the
that.
room. So like that, and that on Lewis is the very wealth of experience he's had in this sport.
Okay.
You know, compared to every other else, like the wealth of experience. Like, let me not crash right here because this would. I think if that happened, that would have been a pileup right there.
Oh
If
yeah, that
Lewis
would
didn't
have
move,
definitely been a pile up,
that
bro.
would have been like
Definitely.
what we in NASCAR call the big one.
The big
The
one.
big one would have happened.
Right, the big one.
The big one
Right.
would have happened. So like all props to like that part. I give props to Lewis for that avoidance.
Right.
But
But going into the corner, I do believe,
going
yeah,
into the
he
corner,
missed.
I will
Yeah.
still stand by. He low
I
key
think he
going
could have
into
went
the
the
corner.
long way around.
Yeah, that's what I said that too. Is like he low key kind of misjudged. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying, oh, Lewis is a terrible driver for that. It's like,
Nah.
no. He's far from a terrible driver. It's just, a little blimp.
Facts.
It's a little
Facts.
blimp.
I
That's
agree.
it. Nothing too special. And I think the reaction on Twitter at the time was warranted. Emotions are high.
Facts.
But
You
I
said that
feel
before.
like
Right.
more emotions are high, but me looking at it objectively, I'm taking I'm taking the fan part of me. I'm just looking at this objectively.
Looking at the footage.
Looking at the footage is like, yeah, George, of course, has that part of blame because he kind of nudged Lewis out wide. Good job to Lewis for avoiding contact. Like
Right.
there was some form of contact still, but again, it could have been the big one.
Yeah, it could have been the big one.
It could have been the big one, but
Right.
I still stand by. It's like, hey, going into that corner, he low key kind of misjudged it, and I say this: people was like, oh, there's probably pre-race or team orders and all that, and I say, team orders on a race start or team orders on a restart or a restart or a race start is probably the last thing a team should do, because everyone knows a restart or a race start is probably the most chaotic part of the race.
It is. It is.
It's more of a up to chance. It's in God's hands than anything else.
It is.
So,
Okay.
and then also I think, and also I'm going to say this: the FIA also has part to blame, and the track developers, because again, you have Pirelli is like trying to the mandatory three stop. Come on, and I don't know. It kind of felt weird. I saw when Lewis started on the soft, given how the softs were in the sprint. It's like it's a bit weird.
Right.
And that's why I blame Mercedes at. It's like, it's a bit odd, given how you saw how quick, like after like four or five laps, the soft tires were dead.
Right.
Anyone on the soft tires was a dead
didn't
man
have
walking
long.
at that point. You didn't have long. So seeing Lewis start off, it was like, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know. Whoever decided on that, I'm looking at you sideways.
Okay.
Like I'm looking at you sideways, like, okay, if this is in the middle of the race, you want to get the tire out of the way, then yeah.
Okay.
But kind of an odd decision, in my opinion. But that's where I stand.
All right, Brock. I think that's fair, bro. Appreciate you.
No
He said,
problem.
I'm looking at your side eye. Over in the super chat, we got Mary Beanie says Shady can't see Lewis yell right. 2016 again. DG Big Blue says number 77 was still on the team thing. Like this wouldn't happen. Oh, okay, yeah. A lot of people have said that. He knows that 44 is priority when on different tires, and the team would be better. That's a solid point, DG Big Blue. Navy, hoorah. Will I Am says, good evening, everyone. And Will comes in with gifts, blessing somebody with a Wolfpack membership. And this Mabuza gets a Wolfpack membership, one of the best gifts that you can get out here in the Formula One atmosphere. Big shout out to Will. And right now, we are going to do, Will, my brother, if you're ready, go ahead and call in. We're going to do our 5 shots for Will. And this is how we're going to get ready to head this out. We're going to try to see what Will's got for us. I'm going to rattle off 5 strong questions for Will. He's going to give his best answers for you all, and then we're going to see what's happening. We will be back with WPPN announcements, as Will is known to be the lead for that right here in the Wolfpack family. As soon as he gets acclimated and gets something, he out about, traveling abroad, taking care of business. As soon as he can, we'll have that WPPN back. But if Will is ready, let's go ahead and do the quick 5 real quick. The mechanic over in the super chat says, peace to the fam. Purple Sectors Lifestyle. Big shout out to the mechanic. Always remember you can get your Purple Sectors merch off the website. Links are below. And for a limited time, supporting October Breast Cancer Month, we do have the Pole into Podium fuchsia pink shirts. Go ahead, head over those and grab you one by October. They will be gone. They will not be available until the following October. Here goes Will, the Type 5. Let's get ready to go. No clock needed for this. We are what's going on. Oh, I see you, Purple Sectors Lifestyle, brother. Living my best life. All right, Will, let's go, brother. You ready to give me a mic check? Nope, no mic. No mic at all. He's going to come off and he's going to come back on. I'm going to go ahead. Let's see. Mic check again. No, I got nothing right there. I'm going to drop Will off and bring him back. Let him call back in real quick and we'll get that going. Big shout out to the mechanic. Also, big shout out to anybody and everybody that is either supporting, that has lost, that is still going through, that has just started, that has been going through this journey of cancer, especially breast cancer in this month. You have all the support. You have all the love and positive vibes from us. Big shout out to you. Also, the money gathered yesterday's live is going to be attributed to feeding families for Thanksgiving. So once that happens, I will take the pictures of how many turkeys we were able to put together in this baskets, how many baskets we were able to put together for those families. So big shout out to everybody that participated in yesterday's live stream for the race highlights. And I'm even going to do something else. I don't know if you saw, if anybody's here and you saw yesterday's highlights, I went crazy. I totally demolished a W14 that had the number 44 and 63 on it. That truck was fully operational before then. What I am going to do, I'm going to bring Will while I talk about this and then make sure his mic is good.
How about now? I think
he's good right now. So what I am going to do, people, is I'm going to bring that truck up and for a live stream, whatever we have now, preferred being in the U.S., there won't be any batteries with it because I'm not going to go through the whole UN code thing. But the truck itself is repairable. You can order parts for it. I'm going to go ahead in a live chat, whichever super chats we have that are going for a raffle, I will package that truck in the box with the remote, with the parts that went flying off of it because I beat it to shit. And you will be able to have that truck and you could just order the parts from Red Cat Racing and hopefully have a nice little project for a little one. So this Cat Rock says next year with a good car, Lewis is good, going to fight for 8th, for George for 1. It will be chaos. The mechanic says, can we do more Thanksgiving on another day? We probably will. It's going to be short because I got to turn it in this coming up week. So we'll do that a little sooner next season, the mechanic guaranteed. So Will, let's go, brother. Are you ready?
Ready, set, go.
All right, so here we go. Listen, do you believe, I think we talked about this, but I want to get it from you. So are we talking about the FIA and Formula One issuing a hydration protocol, or should we be looking more for the teams to be a little bit more controlling of their drivers going into this environment next season?
All right. I think it's a combination of a few things. I think protocol, they should look into that, see if there's anything they can change on that end. I think the teams, they can probably adjust some things as far as their hydration protocols and how their physios are taking care of them. But I think the third thing that really needs to be discussed would be the calendar, the amount of races, where they hold them, and the seasons that they're holding certain races in. If they're going to want to go and do the whole, greenwashing in the Middle East, they're going to have to make sure those races are outside of this time frame where the track is up to 30, 40 degrees Celsius.
Okay. All right. Next one. Is Perez checked out? Even if his contract's not up, is Perez pretty much done himself at Red Bull? And if you do say yes or no, why?
I think he's done. I think that he is done as far as Red Bull is concerned, and I think that's not even really up to him. When I say he's done, I just think that the writing's on the wall. So whenever they have the opportunity to put somebody in his position once his contract runs out, I think that's definitely going to happen. I think him being a rear gunner for Max, we talked about this weeks ago, that does work, but I think at the same time, it gets to the point where when the other teams start catching up, like McLaren, i.e. Mercedes and Ferrari, and everyone starts catching up, then you're really going to need somebody to be a true rear gunner and not somebody that's coming up from the back of the pack and all that type of stuff. It's just not going to work. So I think that he's checked out because of his performance. I think he'd rather be driving, but I think Red Bull kind of already has that decision made up.
Okay. So next question. Lando and his situation with good old Oscar Piastri. Lando has a press conference and says that it's talent. Is Lando starting to get a little bit of his own medicine dealing with Oscar Piastri and McLaren?
I think it's a little bit, if we're referring back to the whole Danny Rick situation, probably a little bit where now somebody has stepped in and they're now doing a little bit better. Of course, he's leading right now in the season, but he is doing quite well, and he did get his first win before Lando did. Even if it's just a sprint race, he got his first win before Lando did. He's getting podiums. He's doing really well there, and I think the talent thing is kind of funny because I think that was 2021 when he slid off during practice, and they asked him if he was okay, and he brought up the whole talent thing. They had that comment, so it was reminiscent of when that happened, and so I think both drivers are really good. I think they have a good driver pairing. It reminds me of the days when it was Alonso and Hamilton in 2007, but not the same animosity. But let's see how it goes when the car is competing for wins all the time. I don't know if that's going to be the same type of animosity or the same type of toxicity. It might not be as much because their personalities are a little different.
Okay, so Haas getting ready to deliver this mega update coming into Texas, which is definitely not their home GP. I'm not considering their home GP. I will be there. Do you think we see more than 14th and 16th from Haas with this update in Texas? Or do you think Haas is what Haas is?
I think Haas is what Haas is. I think if there's anything better than 14th and 16th, that's just going to be Nico Hulkenberg driving the wheels off the car. There's a couple people back in the rear midfield that just drive the wheels off these cars. Someone like a Yuki Tsunoda, someone like a Nico Hulkenberg. They overdrive those cars and they do pretty well as long as they can stay out of trouble in the back there. So I think if anything, it's going to be on Nico's shoulders, not K-Mag. I don't know what's going to happen with him because I do see them bringing in, who was it? Ali Behrman that came in and did that's going to do practice session. I think I want to say at Coda. I might be messing that all the way up, but I think Ali Behrman is coming in to do like a practice drive with Haas. I think it was him. So, and he's doing well in F2 right now. So I think that K-Mag might be on the hot seat as well. Hasn't been doing too well. We know that's the meatball man right there. So I don't know. I think that might be the writings on the wall for him as well if things don't start to improve because Nico's taking it to him. And I'm going to maybe try to get out there for a Coda. I don't know which day or anything like that, but as I'm traveling around, maybe I could try to make it out for like a one-day thing on the GP itself and meet up with everyone, meet up with like Quick Stop and all of that. I saw they were doing an event, so just added that in there for Coda.
All right, so final and last one before we round third base heading in the slide to home plate. I would like you to elaborate on your point you made in the Wolves Den Discord as far as Mercedes might not even be ready even if they are ready next season.
Hold on, the first part of that again?
I would like you to elaborate on your discussion we had in the Discord about Mercedes might not even be ready even if they are ready next season.
Okay, so this is my take on the Mercedes situation with what happened at Qatar and all that. There's a lot of back and forth as far as which driver's there, who should be the second driver there, who they should bring back, things like that. I think that it's bigger than just the drivers. I think it's the team overall, and it's in every single aspect of the team. So as far as I see it, when I analyze the whole entire team, I'm looking at everything from your team principal to your race engineers, to your race strategists, to the pit crew, to operations, logistics. Everything seems like it's falling apart, and I think that's all just because they're resting on their laurels. They have been for quite some time, and I think that every person that we've always called up to say they were really, really good at their job, and I like all these people I'm about to name, but they all need to step it up. We're talking about someone like Rosie Waite, who's been the strategist for a long time, has made the strategy for the two-stop back in 2021 in Spain that back then we didn't have the fastest car, and they were able to come back and win that race. So she definitely has the talent and the skills, but what we're looking at is these things need to start to improve, so she needs to buck up. I think that you're looking at people like Bono, who's very conservative. He needs to start to maybe take a little bit more chances as far as how they're running their race strategy, their actual race throughout the season. I think Toto should step to the side and bring in Jerome D'Ambrosio, who they've been bringing up through the ranks and having him like he has sat in the past. So we know it's not going to be James Vowles right now. If that's something that they do in the future, I don't know. But they have somebody right there that they've actually tried to train up as a team principal in Jerome D'Ambrosio. Maybe you just have him do it because I think Toto's a little stressed. That whole entire having a 33% thing, the CEO thing, I think you need to separate that role. That's what Zach Brown does. He's a CEO, and he's got a bunch of other people beneath him. So he just brings the money and says, what do you need to do? So maybe you need to separate that, make that separation, bring Jerome in as team principal. I think the pit strategies, the pit crew, The pit stop times, we all know that's horrible. So I just think with that, that's just something where you just have to keep practicing, keep practicing. That's what Red Bull does. I mean, McLaren pulled off a 1.8 second stop. I think there's just certain things that
They did.
they need to just get better at it rather than just thinking they could just rock up and just say our two drivers can fix all this, because that's really where it's at right now. You're putting it all on the drivers, which if they don't have the car, they don't have the team or the infrastructure behind them, you can't win championships, you can't win races that way. And as far as the whole entire second driver thing, I think that the way that George drives, he's always looking to go for Lewis, as all the young drivers are, because he is the GOAT. So of course you're going to want to beat the GOAT. Every sport is like that. We look at things like basketball and Jordan when he was on his way out, and all these different people that were always trying to challenge him on the court. It's what you expect when it's somebody that's the greatest of all time. So I think the issue won't be an issue anymore when 2024 comes around, if the car is there, because he's constantly trying to race Lewis, and Lewis is just trying to win. It's not even about. I really don't think it's. Their priorities are just out of whack, and George is being the smartest person in the room. It doesn't work for him. You have to always be learning, like actually learning. And if you're trying to train strategies on the fly and all that just to get past your teammates, it's never going to work. And I think that season will be a season that Lewis can compete if they give him the car, because they don't have to worry about. He doesn't have to worry about George. He's just worried about Max. He asks for Max's times, even now when the car isn't competitive throughout practice. So he's always keeping a mental note of where he needs to be and what they need to do to get out of that car to be able to win a championship. But if they can't fix all that other stuff, there's no driver or constructors championship in their future.
Damn, big shout out. Appreciate you much, Will, my brother, man. And I hope that I do get to see you out there in Coda, man. I will be out there. I'm going to touch down, wheels on ground before free practice times even happen up. So I will be out there. So make sure you hit me up if you do happen to be in the area so we can try to link up. All right, my brother?
Gonna try, definitely.
All right, man. So listen, that has been another successful episode of F1 Minute. Yo, I really do appreciate you all participating. Baraka will have something to say next time. We will get it in. We will continue to do things like we've been doing and trying to, do right for the people. Do right for people out here for Thanksgiving. We did. Next time we'll start it a bit earlier, as the mechanic was making note in there. I also see that we have a couple of more super chats. Let me read those out. The mechanic said, can we do more? And I answered that. Gene Makita says, wow, time flew by. It always does when you're having a good time. And and we got a new member this live. So big appreciation to everybody. We will be racing here at Wolfpack in the Wolfpack F1 Grudge Racing Series. So if you want to race esports F123, you want to have a good time this weekend, when there is no formula racing going on a weekend where formula racing is not going on, join us to race with us. Have a good time. We're going to have a contest at the end of the season that will be getting set up. You're going to get $1,500 worth of race simming gear. So be ready for that as well. And like always, I've enjoyed this time. You all be safe, be blessed. Peace. Wolfpack out.